I'm trying to do something a little bit different each week with the intros. Feels like we've gotten a little stale with me just rattling off lines and lines, paragraphs worth of prose for every single person. And you know all these guys. They've been here for a while. Up first, bits to bigger sums. Twitch Prime's lessons guide the way. Web3 Kingdom comes. Your first haiku is for Tony V.
Love you, man. Glad to be here. I can't do haiku, so I don't think this is one.
I like the attempt, though. I'd have to go back and count. For anybody that wants to hop in as well, we're live on Abstract. If you want to see a little bit of the behind the scenes, we've been doing show prep for the last 30 minutes or so on air, which a few people have really enjoyed. Up next, wait, I got to figure people on the panel. Okay, from flames to finance, the golden god of uptick, witty, strong, and bold. It's Jerry, the golden god, singer.
Gather round, my friends. X space calls for epic games. Let the good times roll.
Wow. Powerful, strong, unbelievable. Up next, decades of gaming. Coin Games founder arrives. TCG master. It's Kevin Lambert.
Hey, warm smiles, bright voices. It's great to be here. I don't think I got that right, but I tried.
I didn't realize everybody was going to try to do this back on Simplified. People were just like, hey, thanks. Up next, games built with care, words with friends to wildcard, legacy of play. It's Paul Bettner.
Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
Wow.
Motherfucker just turned into Deckard Cain on us.
He's about to have to identify this.
Stay a while and listen.
It's the hooded one now for the kids out there. Now that Path of Exile 2 has dominated the landscape, get it right. Up next, a scholar of streams.
Fuck off, Deckard forever.
A scholar of streams. Knock the wise, our guiding light, esports overlord. It's Knock.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do a haiku in return, but I will say it's not RuneScape today. I've been fucking hooked on Brotato. If you haven't played it, play it. It's fucking incredible.
Brotato. I have heard it. I don't know what the fuck it is, to be honest. I don't really know what it's about. We'll have to find out together. Up next, a rebel with charm. He bends the rules and breaks the mold. Truth's fearless ally. It's Senjin.
Hello, peons. I'm ready to eat some souls today.
God bless. That was a haiku in my book. Well done. Up next, Rockstar's new stage. Tech Titan. Card game kingpin. Parallel's future. Koji Nagata. Well said, Koji. Is he here? Did he I think he left.
He shuffled down, I think.
Oh, God. This is brutal.
I thought that was just poetry.
Thank you. Snaps. You guys couldn't hear. Everybody's muted, but there was infinite amounts of snaps happening. Up next, with Hermes' swiftness, he crafts campaigns divine. Infinite God's king. It's Bride of Santo.
Yo, let's go. I do not have a haiku, but stoked to be here with the legends on stage.
Appreciate you, buddy. Up next, Code Conjuring Sage, Web3 Wizard, Blockchain Bard, legal spells they weave. It's Bill Warren.
Morning sunlight waves through window panes greeting us. Hello, friends. Welcome. And thanks to ChatGTP.
This turned into like an edgy small town coffee shop where we're doing open mic. Up next, Goat Gaming's Grand Rise. Mighty Heroes finds new fans. Growth Wizards at work. From Goat Gaming, it's Coco.
My idea of ChatGPTing it was taken, but I'm going to say it anyway. Whispers shape the wind, questions weave the path ahead. Truth seeking I grow.
Powerful, powerful. Well done. Last but not least, 2.4 pounds of power, lean green with words sharp and clear. A fresh voice emerges. It's the Little Lizard Legend Lambs.
I'm going to opt for the, hey, thanks, because, yeah, I'm not going to try and do a response.
God bless. Koji, you did get an introduction. Dude, it's still telling me I can't add you as a speaker. I don't know why. Try closing the app completely and coming back up. Sorry that you didn't get to style on me. I'm sure you had something very witty to say after I introduced you with a very mid haiku. I also want to do one for the Wolves DAO. Web3's brainy pack, intelligent hunters rise, the future they forge. Shout out to the Barky boys and girls. I also got to give a shout out to Grid Network. Grid Network is going to give us a node to give away. Their Web3 credit packs are live on Amazon. They collaborated with Reddit and Collectible Avatars, and their huge node sale is going to be later this month. They're also going to be giving away 100 nodes on Twitch on February 7th, which is crazy. So tap the whitelist form in their bio, and if you use code WolvesDAO, they will hook you up. They're not a sponsor, but they've been in the Wolves DAO for a long time. Also wanted to give some stuff, give back to the community. So therefore, I wanted to make sure that we were able to give them a shout out. And of course, you got to prepare for a cryogenic kickoff with a colossal shout out to our cutting edge comrades, the official chain of GameFi. That's right, it's Avalanche. These Sub-Zero savants recently announced a $100 million AI fund. They also brought in Call of Duty world champion Scump with Off the Grid and his in-game skin. They're not just the architects of the blockchain Blizzard, they're also the Frost Forge foundation for the future of finance. Also some crazy meme coin stuff going on, AI agent stuff going on over there. A lot of cooking happening on AVAX these days. The red chain is a good one. This next product is bending the rules and building bridges between blockchain and glorious gameplay. They're the architects of awesome, making products like Summon, the magic formula that keeps players coming back for more, Hyperplay, the portal for instant Web3 access, but without the funless friction, and World Builder, the sandbox where in-game economies are engineered to perfection. Now migrating from ZK Sync, these ultimate tools for creators enable game-changing growth by making Web3 gaming more accessible, more engaging, and more fun than ever before. And of course, attention all astronauts and asteroid aficionados, get ready to blast off with Star Atlas, the official game of gamified, and its sensational preseason spectacular. Soon you'll be able to plunge into a galaxy of captivating content, explore exotic exoplanets, engage in exhilarating expeditions, and experience the evolution of gaming graphics that'll redefine the cosmos. Get a game key to preseason by joining the Star Atlas Discord. Pop in there and you'll get one today. And go check out Michael Wagner's Twitter or Star Atlas's Twitter. Holy shit, they're posting insane gameplay like every day. It's fucking awesome. Shout out to Star Atlas. Let's move on to the first topic of the day. What's the word? Okay, guys, I want one word that represents how you feel about this. And then also, if you want to elaborate for 30 seconds or something, that's cool too. The new White House crypto czar, who says NFTs and meme coins are collectibles. Here's what he was quoted as saying. I mean, you've got digital assets that are securities. You've got digital assets that are commodities. You've got digital assets that are collectibles like NFTs or meme coins. So you're talking about a whole vast area of innovation, unquote. What's the word for this? And what does it mean for our founders in Web3 gaming / our bags? Sorry, I don't know what the order of the hands is here. I'm going to go to Big Knock first.
Yeah, I'll get the pessimism out of the way early on. The word is nonsense. Does not surprise me at all that the man appointed by the man who launched a meme coin 48 hours prior to taking the presidency has come out and said he doesn't believe that meme coins are, securities. He says that he believes that they're just collectibles. I think this is ridiculous. It doesn't really mean anything. He even goes as far as saying this isn't the opinion of the legislation. This is just my own personal opinion. It's a big nothing burger. There was one piece in that article that was interesting though. He talked about setting up stable coins and the US's potential appetite for creating an actual US backed US dollar stable coin. That's pretty interesting. The thing about meme coins and NFTs doesn't mean anything.
Shout out, great take from Knock to kick us off. Let's go over to Kevin Lambert, then to Wild Paul.
I was trying to decide between finally as my word or hopeful. I guess I'll take the softer and go with hopeful. I'm hopeful that finally we are able to focus on great products and user experiences, and I won't have to be bored down with miles of legalese and following all of that stuff. And we still have to stay aware and abreast of that, but it's taken us many years to get to warmer waters, and we are finally here, and I am very hopeful about that. I snuck 2 words in. Sorry.
The audacity. Save some for the rest of them, Kevin. Over to Paul, then to Park.
The only word is bullish. What are you all talking about? Like, okay, look, I'm on the front lines of having to deal with this shit since last year, having to have endless meetings with the best law firms in the world about what we can and can't do and how we can and can't do it. And literally everything changed after the election last year. And this is just further, I mean, of course, Trump doing what he's doing, launching a meme coin and everything else, but like press conferences like this, etc., they're just further validation that yes, we are definitely firmly on this path where all of the rules have changed. And I can tell you guys, being on those front lines, it's not just us, drinking each other's Kool-Aids. Our lawyers are literally like, yeah, all that stuff we were telling you that you had to worry about before, maybe like don't you maybe not anymore. Like no, like let's reset the conversation. And this is from, some of the more conservative attorneys working in this industry. So this is just further validation and indication that yes, we are definitely on that path. You can make up your own minds about what you think that means, but for a lot of us who were having to work within a very unstable, very insecure, very undefined place last year, it's a lot more clear now.
Music to my ears. Let's go over to Parker Heath, who DM'd me telling me I fucked up. I forgot his intro, and I'm ready. I'm ready for my comeuppance. Park, what's the word here?
What's up? So my haiku, real quick, given my
Oh, no.
opportunity. Sam forgot my name. Left out in the cold again. Avalanche Gaming. Just wanted to throw that out there. I thought I, really had a chance. My word actually inspired by somebody who mentioned ChatGPT. They responded with a collectible, which I kind of thought was pretty funny. But my word personally would be whiplash. I feel like working at Avalanche in the protocol level, it has been just a crazy amount of absurdity in us having this value offering of Avalanche specific L1s for private permissioned environments. Hey, we're regulatory, compliant. You can launch your blockchain related product within this safe environment. And then lo and behold, on a late evening Friday night, while I am not at my computer in a quick and accessible fashion, the president or the soon to be president launches their fucking meme coin. And all of that is just completely blown out of the water and really just having to reevaluate like, what is the pitch now? I mean, it's very much a bullish case for everybody in the industry, but I think a lot of people are having to re-envision like, okay, we've got to recalibrate, we've got to figure out like what's the angle now and how do we win? And I think it's a really good sign for teams that are wanting to launch quickly and go to market. And I think really leaning into that is going to be the next step of my personal strategy. So exciting, but we'll see how it goes.
We've got a great take. Jordan in the comments also saying Paul Bettner, 100% the legal impression I'm seeing too. Not that I'm talking to the best lawyers in the world like you, just very good ones. So we're 2 for 2 on that one. Park also with a great take. Let's go over to Bill Warren that will tag in Senjin.
Yeah, so I have to say this because I was a lawyer at one point, but nothing I'm saying is legal advice, just personal opinion. Um, I think my word is like rightish. So definitely agree that like there are three categories: commodities, securities, and collectibles. And by and large, like gaming NFTs and tokens either fall into collectibles or commodities, not securities. The one place where I think one of the earlier speakers called it like wouldn't necessarily put all meme coins in the collectible category. I think with respect to some of the Trump family ones, those are like the greatest way to pseudonymously bribe your way into a meeting. So maybe not a security even, but yeah, it does make me hopeful for this administration and Congress especially taking like a much more reasoned and nuanced approach rather than like casting everything as a security and us trying to like educate them about Pokemon cards.
Yeah, fair take. Justin Lucas in the comments from Grid Network says, seems like a lot of words saying nothing. specific cryptos are. Did he say DYOR and NFA and then post a Pepe meme? Chuck Stock says Paul Bettner's exactly right. We're having legit convos about it being better to launch our own coin as a US based entity than launching it with an offshore entity. That's kind of crazy. Excited to see how that works out for the farcade that Chuck Stock there is creating. Sinjin, over to you. Then we're tagging in Goat Gaming's co.
What's the word? Awesome. I mean, how can you not take it that way? I mean, I totally agree with Paul. I mean, from a founder's point of view, there was so much uncertainty. I mean, even if he says it's his own opinion, my God, you know. So yeah, let the good times roll. It's about to come. Hold on to your hat, peons.
Hold on, peons, just a little bit longer. Let's go to Goat Gaming's Coco. Then we'll tag in Tony.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, the one word that I think of is like I'm recovering from like trauma, and in a way, I have to tell a story, right? So when I joined Goat Gaming about a year ago, and I got taken aside by the lawyers that we'd handle, and Paul very much articulated this very well, right? They strike the fear of God into you, and they're like, basically, I was told that you can't do this, you can't do that, don't you dare say this, don't say that, and if you do, the CEO will go to jail. Do you want Simon to go to jail? And that would be like shouted at me on a regular basis. And then like stories about how everything that went wrong for XRP was at a marketing level. So it's marketing's responsibility to make sure it's all about what you say.
Back.
And so like it drilled into you for so long that you're like, now that this is happening, I want to, for me, I want to see real, like, defined rules, because I'm itching to jump in, but that we're still waiting for actual rules to change, will be defined even.
Sam, are you talking to me? Can you hear me?
I don't hear
Oh,
Sam.
I'm
I thought
talking
he
to
was
you,
calling.
Tony.
I
It's just
thought
I
said
quiet.
just
it
went
might have
very
been that Twitter
silent. I was
thing.
like, oh.
Hey,
Yeah,
I
Sam's
got this,
down.
guys.
He's down bad.
I got this, guys. Hey, Coco, well said. Tony, on to you.
Hey, thank you so much, Coco. Well said. Yeah, I mean the word is bigly. It's all the shit that Paul said is absolutely right, and Coco said is absolutely right. I'm excited to be able to go and tell people that the collectibles that we're creating are super fucking awesome, and that they're going to be beneficial to hold and play with, and that you should be really jacked up about going and getting more of them, and not have to worry about going to jail. That's what I'm excited about.
I just got the warning that the host is having connection issues. This could be bad, guys, but we're still here. We're hanging on for you, Sam. We'll keep it going. I just wanted to say that as
So
somebody
he
who is
skips the
actually,
line, man. Sam goes quiet for.
I don't even know, man. I don't know. Sam, are you back? I saw him come off mute
No,
there for a
Paul,
second.
it's fine to skip the line. You just got to hit him. You got to say, well said.
Well said. Well
Okay, you can
said.
go
Let's
now.
move on to. Please allow myself to introduce myself. I just wanted to say that as someone who's actually both the CEO and also married to the other CEO, and we are co-CEOs, that the conversation I get to have isn't do you want the boss to go to jail? Come on, it's more like, do you want our kids to be talking to you through jail bars? Like, come on. Anyway, but you know what? I actually think, and I don't know, I really don't want to hijack this, but for me, the more interesting conversation, like we all seem to agree that absolutely everything that has been happening over the last 6 months in terms of regulation and everything else that affects us as builders should be like literally 1,000x bullish compared to what we were. And yet, we're all like the sentiment isn't there, and I want to know what the hell that's about. My take is, and I know there's like spicy takes on this all over the place. I think a lot of liquidity got drained out by pump fund in the last 6 months, and it has just really left. I mean, somebody used the word trauma. I think
More like rugified, if you know what I mean.
Wow, Tony, too fucking soon. Too soon. Jesus.
Hey,
Well
Sam.
said, Tony. Well said.
Yeah, well said, Tony. It did fix the music. The music's back, dude.
Dude, unreal. Unreal. I literally it just decided that like I wasn't allowed to hear anything for 3 minutes. And then while I wasn't able to hear anything, it showed me all the emojis. I could still see everybody reacting to the fact that I was rugged. So clearly I was still connected to the internet. And then eventually it lets me hear Paul. Paul's monologuing. I was like, thank God, Paul's the man. And then all of a sudden, like another 45 seconds later, it rugs. Like how I'm fucking connected. I'm here, brother. What are you doing? Fuck. God.
But we haven't rugged in like a year, and now the music works. So it's the great reset. Now Twitter will just never fail us again.
God bless, dude. God bless this fucking application. Love you guys. Give us a retweet, drop a comment. Let's get it going again. Reminder that we have these grid nodes. I know there was a bunch of retweets and comments on the last one. I'll do my best to bring those into consideration as well. We got like 200 people in here. Let's do our best to get them back. Let's give it another. Let's just shoot the shit for another 2 minutes or so while people
Well,
jump
I'm
in.
just going to keep my monologue going then. I
Yeah,
was just
go,
asking the
Paul.
question,
Let him cook.
why with
Millennia.
Paul, with this insanely aligned, like, I mean, Knock tried to shit on us, but all the rest of us were like, this is definitely bullish. Where the hell's the liquidity, y'all? What the f- is
I'll
going
give
on?
you the
And
answer, Paul. The only thing that has actually tangibly happened from the people in power so far is launching the Trump shitcoin and then immediately nuking the market following with the
no,
non
I
shitcoin.
get that, but like, but for the builders in the space, there is a universal like, holy shit, let's fucking go, like kind of feeling. Like, why is
It's
that
because
not?
bags were down. The trade war scared everybody. There
I
was a
know,
trad
I
fi
know.
panic, and everybody like that's the reaction. You can see people,
Yeah.
who I always quote tweet these people, and I'm like, they're clearly here for the tech. When they're like, "Screw ETH, why would they do
Well,
this?
it's
This is
just crazy, and I know we've all been through these cycles before, where like conditions are actually insanely bullish, but for whatever reason, the market is like, and yeah, that's definitely. But like, I just think everybody should know. I don't know when the results of us builders being able to do the things that we had always dreamed to do is going to finally manifest and come to fruition as like insane value suddenly showing up that we were literally blocked from delivering before. But like, I don't know, just get ready for that because it really is a completely different world than it was before November last year. Like in terms of what we can do with this technology.
Things you love to hear. Let's get it back on the rails. I see Bill Warren with the hand up, and then maybe we'll move on after that if we don't want to keep this bad boy rolling.
Yeah, I think like this just feels like the same Web3 narrative we've had honestly for so many years. Is like people are building amazing things. Like everybody on this stage is building amazing like games, infrastructure, like real stuff that people can use and benefit off of. Like Game 7's all about that. And yet like we're still treated like this kind of like redheaded stepchild of tech stocks by the larger market where when the world gets a little dangerous people flee to safer assets, and that just means like the institutions still drive a ton of market activity. But I do believe, and this is where I think like Web3 gaming is the Trojan horse for Web3, is that there will in the next year or two be these games and these gaming platforms that get mass market adoption. And so it might not be like token go up for the whole market, but we will see better adoption through utility. We'll see like real demand for like different tokens, collectibles. So I'm pretty bullish, and I do think like having more regulatory clarity and getting to that spot is going to unlock things. But at the same time, like we also still just need to get to those like couple of games that really like get the masses on board and playing and addicted to Web3.
Great takes. Wow, a bunch of hands off of that one. Let's go to Koji, then to Sinjin.
Holy shit. Can you guys hear me? Am I here?
We hear you, bro.
Yeah, you are indeed.
Okay. This is unbelievable. I mean, the reason you shouldn't be bullish is because one of the guys who built this fucking platform is in charge of this bullshit, man. But like, all I would say is like, this is a very bullish time, and to hear some of these things is like very positive. But I would suggest that anyone like doing any of this stuff proceed with caution. We're seeing things turn on a dime in our favor and we're like everything's good forever now. It's like, well, hold on a second, because if they can turn this quickly, then they can turn back just as quick, you know. And so maybe some of these offshore situations who have like a proven track record of like, okay, well, this is sort of like netted out to be somewhat safe, you might still be better off, because who knows, you know, Trump could get rugged on a coin and be like, "Fuck crypto, everything sucks now, take it all down," and then we're all fucked because it has nothing to do with any sort of like policy or whatever. It's just like a feeling, like, "Oh, I hate it now." So all I would say is certainly proceed with caution because yeah, all this stuff could turn on a dime.
Counterpoint, YOLO.
I mean, exactly. Well, I'll say one more thing. Actually, I think that like we're not seeing some like insane upticks, but like that's probably okay. As the space matures, what we should be seeing isn't like insane volatility or upside. It should actually be things leveling out, right? Like as much as it like might pain people to be like, "Whoa, I can't like play penny stocks anymore." Like that's kind of what it should be as things come more to fruition and mature.
Preach. Hard agree there. I think we're starting to see the whole like, oh, like just degenerate gambling is actually the use case we've been waiting for, and this is going to onboard the masses. Maybe starting to crumble just a little bit. Lots of hands, not a lot of time. I'm going to give everybody with a hand up 30 quick seconds so that we can get through this one. Let's go to Kevin Lambert, then do Lems.
Just to temper the excitement, which I also have myself. If you guys recall, there was a world where the CFTC was saying like, "Hey, we're gonna regulate all this," and everybody was like, "Yeah," like tokens and everything in the last administration. And when I saw some of the things that they proposed that they were going to do, it was not so rosy. That could totally change anyway. But the devil is totally in the details here. But I'm still very bullish.
The devil is in the details, of which we have zero. We just have very, very, very broad statements from politicians. Let's go to Lems.
I just don't see how there's any way to look at this other than progress. Like if we rewind 6, 12 months ago, we just had Gary Gensler yelling, everything's a security. He's yelling at Coinbase. He's trying to sue them. And like, he won't tell them what an actual security is. And now we're here. And it's not just Trump, right? Like it's a whole change of administration. We got like Cynthia Lummis and I can't even remember all the like different people who have come in. Like it's not just one person, right? Like there's actually a big change of old guard. So I think at the end of the day, it's really positive for the industry as a whole.
Short and sweet, just like I like it, Lems. Over to let's go to Wild Paul, then we'll tag in Sinjin, then Knock will finish it
All right,
out.
I'm going to be short and sweet too. Jerry, you actually changed my mind, you bastard. But not really. But
What?
like listen, I love Jerry's take and it's true. Yes, it's insanely bullish for the real builders in the space who were blocked by ridiculously unclear regulation and everything else. But for consumers and degens or whatever else we want to call ourselves, it's the Wild West. So you better be carrying a revolver yourself now because this is a dangerous place where like sure the people that were so-called supposed to be protecting us before, we all have our opinions on the job they were doing or not to protect consumers, but there's no protect like you should understand that obviously we all saw this with Trump's meme coin that all like anyone can basically do anything now, and so that shifts the onus onto the retail, the consumers, and it is a much more volatile environment where yeah, great builders can build great things, but crooks can do whatever the hell they want too. So just yeah, Jerry's right.
Jerry's right. 2 words that'll make my skin crawl. Let's go over to Sinjin, then to Knock.
Yeah, like this is pretty much like long-term crack addicts, like basically not getting enough of a high right now. Everyone was waiting for this bull. They shot their load 3 times already at least, and everyone's looking for generational wealth, and they didn't find it. And everyone thinks they're the exception to the rule that the house always wins, but they're not. And so, like, the main thing here is like we've always had this kind of parallel that the users and the speculators were all in kind of one kind of vein, and I think there's really a divide that's being shown here where the retail really hasn't come in. There really isn't strong crypto products yet. Now the regulations like kind of opened up. Let's see how it goes. I'm still ultra bullish. I mean, it's Trump, and one of his main representatives have talked about crypto. There's Elon Musk. He's like, Jesus, come on, guys, you guys are being dumb.
Knock, what say you for the last word here?
Lem says a year ago we have Gary Gensler screaming about how everything's a security, but you know what we didn't have a year ago? the literal president of the United States extracting billions of dollars with not one, but two coins before he even comes into office. Koji says this all the time, but crime is legal, and you literally have one of the most extractive human beings on the planet setting policy to open the doors to more casino. We cry about the casino. We cry about the fact that things like gambling in crypto is what gathers all the attention. Well, now you've removed the only very thin fucking safeguards that existed. And now the crime is coming from the absolute top. I think long term, this is hopefully bullish. But if you are pretending that you are not scared of the madness that is about to ensue, then I think you're delusional as to what's happening here.
Yes, sissies.
Got to take the good with the bad, that's for sure. Jerry with another great comment, actually. He says, let's not forget, David Sachs has made a career of being on the cutting edge of tech. Think he'll overall be a great advocate for crypto as he's been bullish on it for a long time. Here's hoping it does play out that way.
One last take on that to respond to Jerry, responding to me, to responding to you. I actually agree. Like if when you're having these conversations behind the scenes, I went to like a really great conference recently at SMU here in Dallas that had, not the people that whose job it is to make clowns of themselves for our entertainment in politics these days, but the actual people doing the work behind the scenes to like progress policy. And these are folks that like brought together the super PAC that helped, the crypto super PAC. So this is like, Brian Armstrong from Coinbase and that whole crew. Those people are not clowns. They're focused on getting good work done, and so there actually is, despite knock, and I agree. I mean, there's crooks at the absolute top, crazy clown crooks at the absolute top, but the layer right below that, who are actually there, trying to implement the policy, they seem to be a little more professional, and from what I can tell, more sane. We'll see.
We'll see, indeed. Let's move on, guys. Is Web3 streaming inevitable? While I was getting rugged on Twitter about 15 minutes ago, my abstract stream stayed up totally fine. So apparently it was just Twitter being absolute bullshit, as it tends to be. We now have Soulbound, thousands, and of course abstract, among other Web3 platforms maybe that have come and gone to attack streaming as a vector, all with native Web3 streaming right now. Soulbound, thousands, and abstract, excuse me. Is this going to continue to be a loss leader for organizations as Twitch is known to be, as Kick is known to be? Or is there a chance that we can actually make this profitable because of the Web3 integration? And broadly, is Web3 streaming inevitable? Let's go to Sinjin first on this one.
I'll be optimistic and say Web3 streaming is inevitable in the sense that, like if there can be some product feature that really is leveraging, what the crypto and is not just the tipping stuff or whatever like this, or direct payments or whatever like that. There's something really, really innovative here. I think it can break the network effects. But then you went on to say about profitability, and that, that is just really tough.
Yeah, that's really where the rubber meets the road on this one. I think with how much money blockchains have, Web3 streaming will at least be attempted a lot, but I don't know necessarily if it'll find success in and of itself. Let's go to Tony, who I know has a little bit of a background in streaming himself.
Oh yeah, man. Just to clarify, I haven't ever streamed myself, although I am going to be streaming on Abstract probably starting this weekend. Thank you, Finn. I ran marketing and was on the founding team for Twitch Prime, which is a big Twitch product that integrated with Amazon Prime. But all that to say, I think that um, I want to preface this with my my analogy about Diablo 2 saves and cloud saves. Like, just because I could put my Diablo 2 save on a floppy disk and ride my bike over to my friend's house and put it in his computer and then play on his computer didn't mean that that was like more efficient than cloud saves. Similarly, I think the idea of having a premium Velvet Rope experience for a streaming platform, or a streaming platform that provides a Velvet Rope experience, is going to be super successful. Very transparently, I'm working with the Thousands team right now, and that is their thesis. And I think it is going to be wildly successful because it will allow them to highly curate the people that they are effectively spending money on to deliver the stream to, in such a way that we should be able to balance the people that are coming in with an equal or financially advantageous number of people that will spend money versus those that won't. And I think that is going to be the sauce, things where you're providing really curated niche experiences. And honestly, I think that's analogous with the way that social media has evolved, right? Like your timeline is your timeline, right? Like my wife and I are on TikTok. God damn her, she got me hooked. I was not using it for years, but when I pick up her phone and fuck around with her TikTok because mine's dead and I'm addicted, I have a dramatically different experience. I'm watching, people cooking weird shit and taking selfies of themselves in waterfalls. And when I'm on my feed, it's like, like St. John's family doing mukbang, right? Like that's my whole feed. And so I think the idea of curated, niche, personalized experiences are the way that media is going now, and that we're going to be able to monetize the shit out of them.
Sinjin's mukbang channel is truly the thing that's been missing from TikTok. I don't think we ever would have even sniffed the opportunity to potentially ban that app in the US if that was actually the content that was on there. Speaking of incredible things that we didn't know existed, insane announcement coming out of the Wolves DAO. If you guys want to check that out, it's pinned up at the top. Shout out to the Barky boys and girls. Let's go over to Kevin Lambert, then we'll tag in Knock.
Totally inevitable, Web3 streaming. And this is awesome. I've been thinking about this for a long time. And one of the many reasons why I love Paul, in addition to us kind of being cut from the same cloth, is he and I are one of the only two founders in this space that I hear talk about the game that we're building must have a fun to watch component to it. And Paul and his team are going about getting that experience differently than we are, but the goals are the same. Like, hey, we want people to say, this is fun to watch. This experience is great to watch. I have a good time while watching this. It's way better than watching its standard Web 2 game. And, so we're building features in our game and streaming. We're not building a whole streaming platform, but, this to integrate with that. And so where that exists, I don't know. Will it be integration with Twitch, or will it be led with one of the new fangled platforms like Thousands or some of those? Both, possibly. But will it exist? Absolutely. Because when you have the viewer, player, streamer triangle of experiences, and, just like what Web3 enables for games, like, hey, there's experiences that you could not have without that. And that exists in streaming too. And that's what really gets me excited. And because that exists, it's inevitable, because as soon as we show it, the light bulbs will come on and people will go, oh, that's what they mean. Holy shit, I need a piece of that. And so it's totally an inevitable.
Man, you hit me with a pause. I don't know if that was just Twitter, or if that was you just playing with my heart, but I was pretty sure I got rugged again for a second there, and my heart rate was out of control. Let's go over to Knock, then to Lems.
Yeah, I mean, the streaming itself is absolutely inevitable, and I think it'll drive plenty of business to other parts of a whole. But is streaming itself profitable? Absolutely not. Like Twitch doesn't make money. Platforms like Kick, only exist as a way to feed people upstream back to stake, right? It's literally in the name. It's kicking some cash over to the streamers, and the streamers getting some cash kicked back from stake.com by sending people to go gamble there. Something like YouTube literally only partakes in live streaming services as one, a little bit of a talent drain from Twitch, but more importantly, as a way to increase the amount of video on demand content that exists on YouTube. There's a video by Moist Critical that everybody should watch, where he breaks down the differences between streaming on something like Twitch and what happens when he co-streams and uploads that VOD to YouTube. The payouts are dramatic, and the difference in payout is dramatic. And the reason for that is because Twitch isn't making as much money as a platform like YouTube is. So I don't think that streaming itself is sustainable as its single business. In the case of something like Abstract or Thousands, the difference is the actual streaming act is used as a way to generate or create a different set of incomes, or outcomes rather. In the case of Abstract, they're incentivizing streamers through things like XP with the promise of some sort of Abstract token down the line to stream and distribute content based off of the partner dApps that are building on the Abstract ecosystem. Distribution is a problem for blockchains. Abstract's way to solve that is, let's make everybody win while we foot the bill for the actual streaming costs. And hopefully people come onto Abstract, make a bunch of money through streaming, create some fun content. Our products get more distribution. More people spend more time in Abstract. As a whole, it's a net value add to the ecosystem, but the act of streaming itself is not profitable. It's going to happen. You're going to see more teams like Thousands continue to iterate on what streaming in crypto looks like. But streaming itself is nothing but a really quick way to like light money on fire. You have to have other systems in place to ensure that you're directing a lot of that talent, a lot of that attention elsewhere into other parts of your ecosystem.
Great stuff from Naka. Expect nothing less. Let's go over to Lems, and then we'll tag it Wild Paul.
All right. Well, I'd say streaming Web3 content, inevitable, yes. But streaming on a Web3 platform, inevitable, no. So I'm going to be a little bit bearish here. Like, we've looked at something like Kick, right? They are the well-known sort of competitor to Twitch, and they are pretty well capitalized, and they have 5% of the market share, right? Like, Twitch is still absolutely dominating. Then you have YouTube, which again has tons of money because they're backed by Google. Like what Sinjin said at the start, I think is the key point here. You need to have something unique. Like you need to have features that actually make it useful for people to want to stream on a Web3 native platform. Like I will say, I'm really excited for what Thousands are building. I think Abstract have got some interesting stuff going on. I don't know about Soulbound's streaming, but yeah, like it needs to be unique and make the experience for both the user and the streamer better. And that's the only way you can really be able to try and attack the user base of the existing giants and start to migrate them over here. So I won't say it's inevitable, but I am optimistic about, like I said, platforms like Thousands, Abstract, to see where we can go.
I'm getting distracted by the Abstract stream. Let's go over to Paul. Then we'll tag in Bill Warren. Then Tony will finish us up.
This is the most amazing conversation and topic that I think I've been able to participate in on Gamified ever. Mainly because, I mean, yes, as you guys know, we are working on a product and a network called Thousands that is specifically addressing this challenge. But the reason that this is an amazing topic is that everybody that you all just heard from are folks that we have been working deeply with to help me and to help us understand what we should be building and why we should be building it. So I can point to Knock, I can point to Tony, I can point to Lems, I can point to Sam. These are folks who are in the business of content creation, have been for a long time, and have had an immense impact on our roadmap as we have been working to build this. And as Lem said, to find the features that matter. Like I remember we had this gamified, I don't know, several episodes ago. And the question wasn't, is Web3 gaming, or sorry, is Web3 streaming inevitable? It was, is streaming going to grow? Or like, is streaming inevitable, basically? And it was, if you guys remember, it was unanimously, like it was like one of the few unanimous things where the entire panel agreed, like, absolutely, streaming's going to the moon, like, this is the future or whatever. So we seem to agree on that. And yet when you say is Web3 streaming, it's like, well, what do we mean? Like, I think that's kind of, it's like saying, is streaming that run, I mean, we make this analogy before, but like, is a streaming network that uses SQL instead of Redis inevitable? Like, I don't know, that part doesn't matter, but does the technology actually enable a unique feature set that we couldn't achieve otherwise? And the answer to that, as I've been seeing as we're building this, is yes, thankfully, but not in the way that I expected. Some of the original ideas that we had were not great a couple of years ago when we were starting to build this. And it's only thanks to, one, that we're not just building the streaming network in absence or in a void, we're actually building the product that's driving the roadmap with Wildcard for the Thousand streaming network. And that, in addition to us working with content creators directly, having them use the product, having them meet with us and talk about that roadmap, having people like Tony start out as extremely skeptical about what we're building and saying like, yeah, this is cool, but like if the story you're telling is about incentivization, like that doesn't work. We've seen a million streaming networks that have paid tons of money to streamers for them to show up for 5 seconds, stream there because they're getting a check, and then immediately leave. And it's helped me and our team as we're building this understand that there's even something more important than for those content creators than a big fat check at the end of the month, although that's really important as well. These folks are not just entertainers, they're entrepreneurs. They build businesses, they shape their entertainment by using technology and by using these cutting edge tools. And what they are looking for specifically is just a better tool set. Like Lem said, just better features, something compelling, some reason why, yeah, sure, maybe I can get a higher ARPU on this network for a little while, or maybe I'm just getting this great incentivization of these checks. But at the end of the day, if I can't use some amazing new tool on this platform, this network that I can't get on Twitch or YouTube to genuinely create better entertainment that has higher retention and higher authentic monetization with my audience, meaning they're having a better time because of the features that this network is providing, and that's allowing me to create a better entertainment that has higher retention for that audience. They're ultimately not interested. They'll show up for 5 minutes like we saw Ninja with Mixer. If you guys remember, that was with Microsoft back in the day. I think they gave him $20 million to show up and stream for like a month. And then of course he went immediately back to Twitch. Like, that's not going to work. And so for us, like, we're taking a very different approach with Thousands. It's not about throwing the door open to a ton of creators until we are sure that we have that feature set that is highly compelling to creators. And then, by the way, it should take care of itself. Like, we saw this, Knock Likes has used this example before, and I love this example. Remember what happened with Roblox and UAFN? UEFN, the Unreal Network for creators, that's kind of like their Roblox competitor. They didn't start out with a ton of marketing, actually. They just started letting creators onto their platform, and it percolated. It, like, people started telling each other stories about, like, holy shit, man, I just did an experiment. I shipped a game on UAFN and I made all this money because of these new tools and these new things I can do there. And it like convinced that audience that there was something compelling rather than just like Epic handing out fat checks. Although they were doing that too. But like it all comes down to those product features. And the last thing I wanted to say is, where I'm at today is that I don't know if the thing we're building with Thousands is going to be the thing that every content creator is going to want, or every type of content is going to want. I know first and foremost we're solving for what Wildcard needs, and I've been finding, as we're beginning to show that to other people, that other content creators and types of content are very much drawn to it. But that focus which has emerged is, it's just all about affinity. The desire for the cohort that exists within a streamer's audience that is their most dedicated, their most loyal. These are the people that like watch League streams because they play League all the time. They know the entire meta, they know everything about the game, and then they watch their favorite streamer all the time, so they know everything about that streamer, they know everything about how that person plays. That person has deep, meaningful affinity to that content, and they have almost no way to express that affinity on existing content delivery networks like Twitch and YouTube. And what we have discovered is, if we just start giving people the opportunity to express that affinity and monetize the expression of that affinity, it's highly effective. It's what the viewers want, it's what the content creators want, and it gives us a unique focus for what we're building for Thousands.
Sometimes you got to let Big Paul cook. Let's go over to Tony, or actually, let's go to Bill Warren, then we'll tag in Tony for the last statement on this one.
Yeah, I think, Wild Paul's correct. And, one thing Game 7 focuses a lot on is building this like giant gaming community. And one thing I think we've discovered is, so long as you're adding value to the community and using kind of Web3 to add value in unique ways by giving them things like ownership over assets, or, rewards, economic opportunities that they wouldn't otherwise have, you're going to be successful. So it just really depends on these Web3 streaming platforms, whether they're inevitable or not. Web3 is great at community if these Web3 streaming platforms can figure out how to leverage and capture that sense of community affinity, then I'm bullish on them.
Bullish on them. Tony, are you?
Paul said most of the shit that I was going to say, so I'll just say a couple of things. One, everyone's talking about the cost of streaming. That's going to change. Go watch that movie about the cell phones and how they got stood up and started receiving email. Like, there's this, humans are scaling technology at an incredibly fast pace, and so like that is just not going to be an issue in 5-6 years, right? And two, funny, Paul said 20 million. Microsoft paid him a lot more than 20 million. I actually helped write the contract to try to keep Ninja on Twitch, and I know that we offered him $25 million and basically like ownership of the Amazon merchandising for like a month. Like, he was going to be all over the fucking homepage, and we were going to create a merchandising shop, and we were going to fund discounts on everything. It was wild. So I can only imagine how much money they paid him to go.
The only person who won in that situation is Ninja, which good
Oh
for
yeah,
him.
man, it was wild. But yeah, no, I think what Paul was saying was correct. That content is king, community is king, and that the the folks that are finding ways to build exciting experiences that people want to spend money to enhance are going to be the ones that win in this space. And it feels like purpose made VIP viewing and more personalized experiences are at least a somewhat proven path to success in that in this space.
In this space. You love to hear. Oh, sorry, on abstract, we're fucking around. People are roasting me the same way that Koji always does for just like saying "well said" or the last three words of things, and it gets weird. Okay, Paul, real quick, and then we're moving on from this one, buddy.
Okay, just last question or last thing I want to mention because this came up. Like, okay, great, everything I just said, but what's the Web3 of it? And I'll just tell you that like I don't know how we'd be able to do what we're doing, and in fact tried to do what the vision is for thousands using Discord, using Twitch. Like that was our original idea. We did not want to have to build our own platform. But those networks and those environments, like go look at the API, go look at the Twitch extension API. They literally do not give us the wiring that we need to create the triangle that Kevin mentioned, the connection between content creator, content publisher, player, and viewer. Like we cannot, they just literally don't give us the endpoints to be able to do simple things like if a content creator streams Wildcard and their viewers go on to later install and play Wildcard, first of all, those viewers are going to be extremely high monetizing for us. Like when they're introduced to our game via an authentic introduction from their favorite content creator, that ends up being a much higher engaged, higher KPI user for us than anyone else. And we all literally like the simplest feature, which is we just want to then attribute some of that viewer spend back to the original content creator that showed them our game. Can't do that. No wiring exists for that on Twitch or YouTube. You cannot hook that up no matter how much you'd want to. And we tried cobbling it together with bots, with all sorts of experiences, and got so frustrated with our inability to do even the simplest things. And I know why. It's because YouTube, Google, Amazon, they have a business that has a different set of KPIs. They're not there to support us as a game publisher trying to put money into the hands of content creators. Like that's not their business right now. But they're leaving this tremendous opportunity on the table and a ton of money on the table for those viewers who would and those content creators who would monetize at a much higher rate, as Tony is saying, for that VIP experience. So Web3 actually gives us that wiring, and as a technology, that's why it's useful for us. No other reason, just that.
Web3 streaming is inevitable, is what I'm hearing. Dub, I'm bringing you up from the audience. I know you've been clamoring to get in on this one as a resident streamer for a long time. Quick take, and then we're moving on, buddy.
Yeah, like I don't understand why people are debating this. I'm streaming on these platforms. It's inevitable.
God damn it, Dub. If I bring you up, you gotta you gotta say
From the
something other than
fucking top ropes, baby.
it's
No,
cool
I
because I
believe.
hear it. Jesus
Yeah, well, I'm
Christ.
trying to keep it short and sweet for the people, but like I fully believe it. Like there is way cooler interactions going on. Like from my head as a streamer and how I'm thinking about the interactions with my audience, from the like how I feel like I'm going to get inevitably rewarded in this. Like I like the fact for abstract that I don't know what the fuck XP is beyond that it's XP. I get to speculate that it's going to be fucking millions in Pengu, or I'm going to get a pudgy penguin every time I get a fucking level up or something. And like I like that and I enjoy that platform has that, and I can't get that elsewhere. I don't get that on Twitch. But at the same time, like I'm still urged to go stream on X and to also multi-stream and put that out there. So like of course it's not a one and be all. It's there's a lot to work on.
God, dude, if only we could all have Dub's delusion of grandeur that we think every time we turn on our fucking stream we're gonna get a 20 ETH asset just airdropped
He's
to
got
us.
at least like 15 pudgies coming to him at this point, right? Like that's
At least 15 budgies straight to his wallet. All right, guys, we're moving on. Parallel World Championships, big deal, little deal, or no deal. The Parallel World Championships coming March 1st, live in Las Vegas. With the scale of this event, does this mark the start of a real esports scene in Web3? Is this what will finally help us break out of the bubble and draw more mainstream gamers in? Big deal, little deal, or no deal for the Parallel World Championships. I'm tagging in Big Kevin Lambert first, top 100 player on the leaderboard.
Top 30 this season, yo.
Top 30, Jesus.
No deal because I'm not in it. Back to you, Sam. Just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Koji,
No.
explain yourself, Koji. Sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
Totally kidding. I think it's a big deal because one of the things that has been missing, sorely lacking in Web3 is the kind of experiences that we're used to in Web 2. Good, high quality games that we look to play for fun and social and meet all our friends and do all the things in addition to number go up. And this is a shining beacon of light in that camp from my perspective. It's like, hey, we can be the same as Web 2 in terms of quality, and we can offer some better pieces here and there. So I love that we're moving down the field yard by yard towards that. And so I consider this a important milestone on that journey we're all on together. So big deal.
Thanks, Kevin. Let's go to Dub next, who I know is also an avid parallel player.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely massive deal in my mind. Not like regardless of the impressions, the views, or whatever happens after this event, because this is equal to the Games GG Game 3 Awards in my mind. This is a staple event that going forward every fucking year, I get to look forward to and participate in. And I know that that's going to grow and the community is going to grow around it. And the fact that they're at the Luxor and at this esports arena that I've done events at that I know is a fucking killer event for this thing, like it's all the fucking cards are there. It's fucking aces. I'm super stoked on it. And yeah, I'm just more excited about the precedent that this event has and how it's going to be a freaking rock of an event year after year after year now.
The cards are there, said Dub, as he definitely didn't intend that pun. Let's go over to Jerry, then we'll tag in Tony.
Yeah, hey, who do I sound like? Yeah, guys, I'm going to the Parallel World Championships. Of course it's a big fucking deal. Yeah, on you, Sam. No, just kidding. Yeah, no, this is huge, man. I think what we haven't had in the scene is somebody who can pull something like this off, right? So I think this is huge. I think it's a lot of it'll get a lot of attention from people like outside of our bubble. And I don't think there's any way you can look at, a project like Parallel building up a ramp up, through like tournaments that they've had over the last few months into something big like this as anything but a really big deal. So I think they're figuring out the blueprint and figuring out how you do stuff like this. But I mean, I think outside of a couple other teams like maybe Wildcard out there, they're really the only people that can pull this off right now. So this is a moment where I think we should all be rooting for them. And I think even looking at it objectively and without bias, like there's huge Web 2 games that can't pull shit like this off, So the fact that these guys are knocking on that door is incredibly impressive.
Big Doug Hype in the comments says HyperX Arena in the Luxor will be full of Web3 creators making content, making connections at a well-known gaming venue. Parallel TCG Pod, who's Koji, will also be there making more magic and connections for Web3. And the Gaming on AVAX team is going to be there as well with Premier Games. That's amazing. Yeah, really, really cool that the Parallel team is combining forces with the AVAX team to also bring Off the Grid, Shadowline, and some other Web3 games, especially because TCGs can be a little bit of a deeper cut of a niche. So I'm excited for people to get exposure to multiple angles of Web3 games. Let's go over to Tony, and then we'll tag in Brian DeSanto.
Yeah, I think it's a huge deal. I'm gonna get a little choked up talking about this, but one of the coolest memories I have in this space, Web3 gaming, is being I was real fucked up, but I think it was in Vegas or it was in Texas, but we were karaokeing with the Parallel team, and Koji and Kalos, the CEO of Parallel, were doing a fucking duet together because they're like both literal rock stars, and the way that they like introduce each other and like I remember distinctly Kalos going like ladies and gentlemen, Koji Nagata, and it was like they're both such clear strong performers and such masters of their trade that I think that I'm really excited to see what they put together from a production standpoint, but these guys don't miss from a game perspective, and they are just some of the coolest people to hang out with in real life. And so I have nothing but the highest expectations for what this is going to look like.
The bar is set. If you weren't already set, let's get Oliver Maroney also in the DMs right now. Wants to come up. I know Park also wants to speak on this, but let's send it over to Koji. Let's send it over to Koji. Let's send it over. We're gonna send it over to Koji. Yeah. All right. We're gonna send it over to Park, and then we'll try Koji again. We're gonna send it over to Park. Fuck. God damn it! I hate Twitter so much. Anybody? Does anybody's fucking microphone
Is
work?
this thing on?
Yeah, Park. Park. Do you read me? Jesus Lord, God! I'm about to Discord call somebody on Abstract so they can use my microphone instead. Holy shit! Okay, Park
DeSantos
is
had his hand
reconnected.
up for a little bit, I think.
Hello, hello.
Hey, there we go.
Oh my lord. Are we still on parallel being bullish? Is
We
that
are, yeah. Give me the
man?
juice. I know Avax is in the mix here too. Parallel
I
World Championships, big deal, little deal, no deal.
huge deal. One of the biggest deals of this whole year. I think like look, the two things we're looking to do is like standardize like Web3 gaming as legit, as a fun filled like community growing and just action filled adventure, all the sunshine and rainbows. And I do think having these like events on these main stages and these large activations is a really strong part of that strategy from like I think an industry wide approach, and obviously from ours as well at Avalanche. And so it was a pretty big no brainer when the Parallel team approached us to see if we would want to participate in a meaningful way. I mean, I mainly just wanted to sponsor so that I have an excuse to participate more in karaoke without having to twist Koji's arm to invite me. This just gets me an automatic bid into the invite room. But besides that, I think this is going to be a super, super fun time. We will have Off the Grid and Shatterline participating as well. But I mean, I think this is all Parallel show, and I'm just kind of here for the ride. Very excited, and honestly, thank you, Koji and team. This is, I mean, being able to support teams in this like fashion is just. I didn't think we'd be here after 3 years of eating shit right in this Web3 gaming market. And I think this year is like this is a big part of like where we've all been working towards. So super excited.
Amazing things you love to hear. I want to send it actually. Let's break it up a little bit. Let's go to Brad DeSanto, then we'll tag in Koji.
Yeah, it's so baller, and I know the timeline's been bearish on gaming lately, but I think if this isn't proof of inevitability, I don't know what is. I mean, I think we're seeing the Mount Rushmore of teams and Web3 games out in Vegas, just flexing and showing off what they've built, and I think it's going to be a total smash. And my hope is, like Tony said earlier, I hope this becomes an industry mainstay for the next 5-10 years. I hope we see teams like Project O and Wildcard up there alongside Parallel, in the next couple of years, because I think it's the kind of thing that I think, can be the epicenter of the industry and really show off, what this tech and this community and this space can do that's different from the rest of the gaming industry. So I hope you guys absolutely crush it, Koji. I'm excited to watch. We might actually be there with a couple of partners also. So, good luck to you guys. I think it's going to be a smash, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun just seeing, everything from TCGs to FPS to, all sorts of games live showing off what they got. So big moment. Can't say that enough.
Let's go to Koji, and then I want to hear from our resident emperor of esports, Knock.
All right, can you guys hear me now? This fucking
Loud
thing
and
has
clear.
been killing me, dude.
The,
So yeah, it's a big deal for me, obviously, but not from like, is it a big deal that there's like we're doing this live event, whatever. It's more for two reasons. One, we can all just get together, play some games, and fuck around. And like, I'm not going to Vegas to talk business. I'm going to see pros play the game, have a good time, see people I like, and I think that like for all the, I mean, we do that as a byproduct of some of these events, but for that to be the purpose of the event, I think is just going to be the best time. It sounds like we have to do karaoke, so I guess I'll make sure that that's on the list. And then personally, it's a big deal because I get to like meet and see some guys that like I've either only met once or twice or not at all. In the case of Tice, all these like former pros and current pros who are now taking their time playing parallel, and it's not like one of these events like when we started we had like a creator invitational, and it was like we courted some of these guys to be a part of that event and whatever, and now it's like the people who are playing are the people who actually want to be here playing, You know, we're not handing out. I mean, we're handing out prizes, but it's not like we're paying Tice or Tyler, any of these guys to like be there playing this game. It's they're here because they want to, and so like it's exciting for me to meet these pros because I've been watching them for a long time, not just play parallel, and then the fact that they are here playing our game and love it is a big deal. And then yeah, I don't know, just like I said, to like go back to what I was saying before, it's just like to have this event for not just for parallel, but for the ABAX games that are going to be there and for people to just like sit around and actually play games. And if anyone comes to me and is like, "Hey, you want to use my infrastructure?" I'm just going to tell them to fuck off. At least in Vegas, you can message me uh, on wherever, Twitter later. But like, let's just keep it about the games and about the karaoke and maybe about the rock climbing. But yeah, big deal for me.
Hey, oh, yeah, we gotta plan that.
And the golf.
Nah.
Ooh. Oh yeah, there is going to be some golfing.
Let's go. Count me in, boys. All right, I'll see you there. I love that though. Let's keep it about the games, especially whenever we're doing something at like a Web2 gaming event venue, and we're finally playing a tournament that's based on the actual game and not about some airdrop that you farmed 6 months ago. Blah blah blah. Like I can't wait. It's gonna be really really cool. I want to know though, big deal, little deal, no deal, from the Emperor of Esports himself, the man who's been around it as much as any of us. Big knock.
Big deal, massive fucking deal. For a couple of reasons, but for most importantly, I want to kind of like decouple this idea that competitive play equals esports. It does not, right? That's just the prize pool. You're bringing people in. What an esport is, you don't get to decide. A lot of the teams in this space say we're building an esports title. That means nothing at all because whether or not your title becomes a true esport isn't really within your control. You want to foster a community, you want to make sure that you're making it rewarding, you want to have depth of play. And what has happened with Parallel is that all of these things have begun to happen organically. Yes, they partner up with people. Yes, they try to cross pollinate from other TCGs in the traditional Web 2 space. But you have real talent from Web 2 TCGs, world champion level talent from other games in Web 2 who have said, not only am I willing to play this game, I'm willing to sit here and sink significant amount of time. Sure, there's some transferable skills from the titles that they play in the Web 2 world, but to get good at any game, at least to this level, requires an immense amount of time put into that title. And the team at Parallel have done a really good job of structuring things like seasons and events and opportunities for people to kind of get involved and to play these titles and build community around it. And at the core of it, it's when community meets real deep stakes competitive play. And I think that's what we've gotten here. It's the first true Web3 esport, in my opinion. Anybody who says that there's another one that exists, I would disagree. And more importantly, it's being built from a bunch of guys who know that they don't know this stuff, right? They know, hey, we're going to listen and take some feedback from the types of people who do. We want to build a game that people are excited about. We want to create moments and experiences that people can really get behind and be memorable. If you've ever been to an esports event, for me it was 2019 in Katowice when this like all really clicked. But if you've ever been at an event like this and you watch the story over a couple of days, you see players kind of walk off stage all upset and frustrated. You see the highs and the lows of this ecosystem. You realize that it's not just about playing a game. It becomes its own living, breathing thing. And to the best of my knowledge, that's what's happening over at Parallel. It seems like this is it's got a real chance at becoming something that people play for 5, 6, 10 years down the line. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the team has come in and they've said, we're going to build this game. You hear Koji talk about this every week. I don't know what I'm doing. We've got general ideas. We're going to build this game. Things will evolve. And through that, they've fostered this community that cares deeply about the product. They've created guys like Kevin and Dub who play the game while doing all the other shit that they do in the space at a very high level and have been talking about the fact that this is coming for months now. That's an esport. This is a title that was built for competitive play, sure. It has evolved into a real, true esport. It's the first one that exists in Web3, as far as my opinion goes. And I think that it sets the stage and really the blueprint for how any other team who wants to be an esports title, who wants to have thousands of people watching an event, who wants to put on a LAN event where a champion can be crowned, Koji and Co have literally created a blueprint for how that needs to be done. I've seen the rise of Fortnite esports. I was lucky enough to be in early when Valorant in the early beta and saw that ecosystem develop well before there was a league. The same thing is happening with Parallel. It's a massive fucking deal. Regardless of the turnout, regardless of viewership, regardless of how many people are actually there, the fact that people are spending this amount of time trying to get good at a title like this is just a sign of things to come. It's reminiscent of what I saw in Valorant before that game was even a live game where people could play. I really, really cannot overstate how big of a deal I think this is.
Great stuff, Knock. Man, throughout that, I got rugged like 3 more times, but I kept coming back, and fingers crossed, no more real rugs. I want to hear from Big Sinjin. Oliver also coming up because I know OpenSea is involved. Sinjin, let's go to you and then Wild Paul, and then we got to move on to the next one.
Yeah, well, no doubt it's a big deal for Web3, but I just want to also say, there's still a long way to go, and the more attention it does cut both ways, and that Web3 kind of image is still not really reformed yet out in the U.S. And I've been always a big fan of Koji and Parallel. They've been carrying the industry, so they have my 100% support. But one thing is like PR coverage. I mean, if you check out the PR coverage that they're getting right now, it's pretty much non-existent outside of like Web3. And not to date myself, but I remember like in '98 as a grad student in Toronto, this final for a Quake 2 tournament came out, and there was an article in the Toronto Star, and it's like guys are like, this is going to be the biggest thing ever. It's going to change esports. It's going to come in, and that's like '98, right? And even myself, when I launched poker in Asia in like 2007, I launched the Asia Pacific Poker Tour and the Macau Poker Cup. Like that took 3 years to really build up before it really got momentum with an unlimited marketing budget, with prize pools of like $1 million, like up to like $10 million later on, like, and that's happening like every 3 months. So like, yeah, it's great. It's a really big deal for Web3, but guys, there's still a long way we have to go.
Definitely is a long way to go. Let's see if Oliver's mic is working. If not, we'll go to Paul.
Yo, can you hear me? Hopefully you
Yes,
can.
sir.
Yeah. Good to be here. I'll keep it short and sweet. I just wanted to give my props. Look, I think it's a really big deal. I want to give my props to the Parallel team for putting this on, because it is a really, really... anybody who's set up an event of this magnitude and scale knows how much goes into that. The organization, flying all the people out, putting them up somewhere, having the facilities. If anybody's been to HyperX, you know that there's a bajillion screens, computers. There's just I think people maybe underestimate how hard or difficult it is to put an event of this scale on. And I also want to say that they, like, look, I chatted with like Fitch pretty early in this process, and he's like, it'd be sick if we could do an esports event, and like this is and then, like, just seeing it come to fruition and like get to this point. I just want to give my flowers to the team, because I think it really does level up the expectations of what Web3 gaming can do, if done right. And obviously we have to see the final iteration of this and see how it all goes. But I think, to everyone's point on this panel, we have gone to events with like Web3 gaming as a side thing to a degree, but it's never been like the true focal point. Game because we want to game because we want to be there with the right people and have fun doing it. And while like I just feel like it's an expanded version of like the Wolves Den to a degree. We have people who like really care and have a passion for this thing, and seeing, as everybody's mentioned, the best players doing it is going to bring this like level of excitement, I think, that I'm really excited about. So anyways, just want to give my flowers to the Parallel team, what they've been able to do in putting this together. And yeah, I'm just excited to see it all to come together and be a small part of it as well.
Wild Paul, what's your take on this one, buddy?
Basically just underlining what Knock and Kevin said. I think that what I've personally experienced connecting with and following along with the Parallel team, who is just incredible, is that they have transitioned to the next phase, the Holy Land phase, where they're no longer focused on just building Web3 hype and Web3 community, and they have shifted over to building a real player community. And that's such a big deal. There's only a handful, as Nock was saying, you could not say you can't emphasize this enough. There are only a handful of projects in Web3 that have successfully made that transition. We like to point to Fableborn, I like to point to Pixels, and Parallel is the OG. And them focusing on events like this and just continuing to double down on that player community and growing organically and finding their people, right? These are the real players who have decided that Parallel is their game, and they're no longer there just because of some Web3 hype or some desire to farm rewards. They're doing it because this is the game they like to play. And the fact that Parallel is one of the only teams that has crossed that threshold, it should be the biggest deal in the world to all of us.
Amazing to hear. Thanks, guys. Very excited to be down there myself. Jerry also is going to be in tow. Koji, of course, Oliver and the gang, I'm sure, as well as some of the AVAX boys. It's going to be a ton of fun. If you guys want to come down, slide my DMs. If I can facilitate it, I happily will. As you know, I don't do a lot of business with Parallel directly. They are going to help me out a little bit in coming down to this tournament. But more than anything, I had a bunch of people asking me to come to ETH Denver, which was my original plan before I realized that these events were going to overlap. And as soon as I realized I had to pick, I was like, dude, it's got to be the Parallel World Championships. I mean, I've been obsessed with esports literally since I was like 14 years old. And to have an opportunity like this to be able to support and be an active member in making Web3 esports happen, this is the thing that like actually gets me out of bed in the morning, actually gets me really, really, really excited about Web3 gaming. So huge thank you and shout out to everybody that's actually making this happen. Can't wait to have it be an absolutely incredible event in about 3 weeks in Vegas. We'll see you guys there. And midway through our magnificent mission here, let's make it a maneuver to thank our mates over at Avalanche. They're the Sub-Zero superheroes, ensuring our digital deeds are as smooth and safe as a snowboarder on fresh powder in a suit of armor. Whether you're dodging bullets in the firefights of Off the Grid or you're scaling magical peaks in MapleStory, Avalanche is the summit where Web3 gaming truly shines. Thank you for being the official chain of Gamified. And up next is the Game 7 Nation, a gaming haven where players have the power. Did you know they've got over 175,000 monthly active Mavericks making moves in the Game 7 portal. They also have 400,000 citizen avatars on chain and their very own chain, announcing yesterday that they're migrating from ZK Sync. Congratulations on that, guys. With Hyperplay as your highway to hassle-free game discovery experiences and World Builder whipping your world into wealth generation wonderlands, Game 7 is the real MVP. And don't forget their ginormous groundbreaking MetaMask partnership opening the gates to 30 million global gamers. Thank you to our official infrastructure. It's Game 7. And buckle up, Space Cadets, because Star Atlas is about to launch a rocket full of loot that'll make your head spin faster than a black hole. The Golden Carnival Mega Mystery Week is coming for you February 21st, but you can join them right now every Friday for your chance to win and snag a share of the $4 million prize pool that they have for that Golden Carnival. We're talking enough cosmic credits to make you the envy of the galaxy. So scramble your starships and set your coordinates for the Star Atlas Discord to learn more about the official game of Gamified. And you get to get a playtest key right now to jump in and see what they're really working with over there. Okay, guys, we're moving on. Agree or disagree? TGEs are liquidity events or loans based on reputation. Okay, a little bit of a flip of the script here from Pseudo GM. He says, quote, the best crypto founders don't see TGE's token generation events as a payday, but the exact opposite, a debt backed by their reputation. For them, they measure success in delivering their vision, doing right, building relentlessly, and proving above all to themselves that they were worthy of the trust, end quote. TGE is often seen as a liquidity event for not only the founders themselves, but also the VCs. Well, I guess founders typically part of the team lockup schedule, and therefore they don't get a lot out of the TGE. But we all know that OTC deals happen as well to sort of circumvent that from time to time. What about shifting our perspective to this TGEs being a debt to execute on your vision against proving that you're worthy of the capital injected into your project? We bring so many founders and builders on this panel each and every week. I'd love to get perspectives on this one. Agree or disagree with this reframing? I'm going to send it over to Bri DeSanto first on this one.
Yeah, I'll speak as somebody who just went through a TG of our own, and it is. I mean, if anybody's gone through their own planning process, it is an absolute gauntlet. I mean, a grueling process if you're trying to do it. I would say, quote unquote, by the book with all of the legal bells and whistles and all of that. I mean, if you're launching a pump fund, meme coin's a little different, but I couldn't agree, more with that statement. I mean, it is anything but a revenue event or a capital infusion. I mean, it is a massive expense when you think about everything from legal to manpower to overhead to focus to just everything. I mean, it is a beast of a product, on top of building games and infrastructure and all of the other cool stuff that we're doing. And I think a lot of game makers would probably agree that token design and TGE planning is probably the lowest item on their list, especially when legal is, banging down your door every day, revising white papers and comms and all that good stuff. But I think, for all of us up here, whether you're founders or on the leadership team, I mean, I think we all bleed, what we're building, our product, our communities. We're in the trenches. We feel what our communities feel. And I know for me, I very much, look at TGE, I look at the token price, I look at the volume, all of that, and it's for better or worse, it's a reflection of where the market views you today. And I think if that number is lower than what you think internally, there's no way other than to take that personally. And I think I look at that and I say we have a hell of a lot of work to get it to where we think it should be, and it very much feels like a debt to everybody who's believed in us, both product or NFTs or whatever it is. So I think it's very much, not about the money or the capital or the revenue, any of those things. I think it's very much a point of personal pride and how do you deliver, I think, what you're capable of to the market. So, I know not everybody probably believes with that sentiment or feeling, but I think at the end of the day, we all want to make something that's great that people believe in and can pour support for. And I think until you do that and enough people rally around that, you haven't achieved your goal. So that's sort of my view on it.
Awesome to get that firsthand perspective. Let's go over to Wild Paul, and then we'll tag in Jerry.
This take, in my opinion, was one of the best I've read in the last couple of years. Honestly, when I read this, I was like, oh, there's just such an accurate way to put it. I don't know if I'd use the word debt. It's fine. It's totally accurate. Maybe promise would be a better word. But like anyone who's doing work in Web3 and doesn't yet understand that this is how it feels when you launch assets onto a blockchain, I just want to say, oh, you sweet summer child, you're new here, aren't you? Like, it's I just I it's also not like, for those of us who have been building products for a while, this isn't like a terrifying thing. I mean, a blockchain definitely provides more of a sort of hard, well-defined promise than other things that I've worked on before. But any game I've ever shipped is effectively me making a promise to my players, especially when it's a live service game, when it's an online game. Like, we all have that feeling as builders of like, okay, I'm starting to create community. I'm starting to get people that are falling in love with this thing I've made. And even if it's maybe not the biggest audience ever, it doesn't matter, because every single one of those people who has fallen in love with this thing and wants it to keep going is now someone that I feel like I've made a promise to. And it's devastating if I have to let those people down, like in the cases where we've had to close down a game or shut down an online service or whatever. So it's very similar to that. And I think that, like, for folks who haven't gone through that before, because maybe they're shipping their first product ever in Web3, like, you should definitely look at any assets you ship that way, because an asset is the beginning of the formation of a community. And that community, when you start to do that, you're creating a promise for them. Unless you're straight up like, look, guys, this is it. Once I'm shipped this, I'm out of here. Which I have respect for that too, because they're not saying like this is like, for the teams like Loot, as if you guys remember way back then, where they're handing it over and they're like, this is actually for you. Like, don't look it to us as the creators to be the ones that are maintaining and growing and whatever. But for those projects that are doing that, which is the majority of us, like, it's absolutely a promise. It's absolutely a debt. The moment that happens, whether it's a coin, an NFT, whatever it is, like, that's an obligation. And you're either going to live up to it or you're not. But like, it's totally fair for people to have that expectation when we're putting ourselves out there as creators who are building IP like this.
Great stuff. Let's tag in Jerry, and then I want to hear from Bill Warren, who also has a TG on the horizon.
Yeah, sorry, what's the game segment right now?
Yeah, what is the
Or do we
game
just
mode on
talk
this?
about
Do
it?
we even have a game
Say
mode here?
something
Agree or
smart.
disagree, I guess?
Say something smart, part
Oh,
17.
all right.
Yeah, there
Well,
we go.
I'm gonna make it my own segment, and I'm gonna just do what I always do and say the quiet thing out loud. And also just agree with the guy who said it. I mean, I think yeah, Paul said it well. This is one of the best takes I've seen come out of the Web3, CT timeline in a really long time. But the quiet thing that I think needs to be said out loud is Sam, you curate a great panel of builders who have the right mindset, and one of the reasons we all get up on here and talk and jive off each other, once a week or a couple times a week, when we do simplified, is because these people all have that same mindset and they always have, right? And somebody finally just put it into words. When you launch any product in Web3, it is sort of like, I think Maria was the one who coined the term. You create this like expectation debt, and you are telling people, please come, transact with this thing, and we will make you whole, or we will do right by you. And people like Paul or people like Brian, who's going through it like in this exact moment, they have that mindset, and they always have. 90% of teams, I would say it is a liquidity event, and it is like their moment of going, "Oh, fuck, we finally hit it. We're rich, boys." And those are the teams you just want to steer very far away from. So I think, as we go through and this panel, we'll all probably unanimously agree that, yeah, what the guy said is absolutely right. You do create this debt. Know that most teams are not talking about this behind the scenes, right? These guys are, but a lot of teams are looking at this as runway extension, or they can finally, pay salaries, or pay off old debts or whatever. So I just want to make sure that we're taking note of that, that like these guys are all the right people, and that's why we all have invested in them, right? Most of these teams still don't know what the fuck they're doing and have no concept of having an expectation debt out there, and just be mindful of that.
Yeah, it's a great point. This panel, unfortunately, not always representative of the average in Web3 or the median in Web3. Let's go over to Bill Warren.
Yeah, so obviously have to be a little careful because we have an imminent TGE that's out there in the public. But definitely the way we've thought about this is that our TGE is an opportunity to reward those early backers, those consistently engaged people who have made us a success, right? I think we have like 500,000 citizens, or at least minted citizen SBTs. We really want to reward the people that have been on our platform, playing the games, helping our partner games grow, participating in the community. And TGE and like tokens in general in this Web3 world give our companies and our communities an amazing way to reward those people that took a chance on you and continue to take a chance on you in a way that it just like does not exist in the Web2 world. So my little bit of like spicy response to that initial tweet is like, really, there should have been a second part of it. That's like, if you're not seeing TGE as a way to repay a debt to your most active, most committed like community members, please leave Web3. Like go back to Web2. You can create a Web2 company where there are endless exit opportunities for you via stock, and you'll like have your payday. But in Web3, it's all about building these like new economic systems where more people benefit, where like your early average supporter gets rewarded for taking that chance on you, spending some of their attention on you, building your community. Like we're all on this panel because we believe the same, but my addition is like, if you don't believe that, please just go back to world Web 2 and leave like Web 3 to the dreamers.
Awesome to get your perspective just on the horizon of that TGE. Let's go over to Kevin Lambert, who I know also is looking at one, I don't know, maybe a little bit further out, but sometime in the future.
Thanks. So like Paul, I also love this take, and it's exactly the reason why I went full doxed, full name, real face at the time when I got on Twitter, and when I and since 2017 when I got really hardcore into Web3. I think there's also an element of like where we are in the history and the evolution of Web3 here. What I mean by that is like, my opinion is that eventually these TGEs evolve into something a little more like an IPO in traditional world, where like, where it's like, hey, people have where you have access to this token, but it's more open to early adopters and contributors than it is to like private investors and trad fi. And like a trad IPO, that TGE, I believe, eventually comes post market fit, post proof of execution, and post scale, rather than what we're seeing today. But in the reality we are in today, yes, I think that take is perfect. It is currently like a mortgage against your future delivery. And hopefully the founders care deeply enough about staking their reputation on that debt. Staking their reputation. See what I did there? But in the future, I think this will be a very similar thing than that going public in a company is like, as we evolve towards that.
Yeah, it certainly feels like it, given the number of conversation with lawyers.
Let's go over to Big Knock next, who I think might shake this one up a little bit.
Guys, it's okay. It's a liquidity event, and that's fine. Like this is, I respect every one of the builders up here. I think this is like a panel of some of the best builders in the space, and I also deeply believe that from their POV, this is a reputation on the line. I need to deliver for my community. I want to reward for my community. But the fact of the matter is, if you're launching a token, one or multiple of these things are true. You signed a token side note when you got VC investment, a team that took an early bet on you before you had a product that allowed you to build a team, that allowed you to build the product, and now you owe them some of that token. You probably took in some amount of money through a pre-sale, whether that be through a VC or a KOL round or through your community. You're going to owe those people token. You may have launched an NFT in which you used as a non-dilutive form of capital raise, which is okay, but you're going to owe those people a token. And that's fine. Quality teams can understand that part of being a good business owner, part of being a good founder is ensuring that your product gets to market, meaning you have enough runway to get that product to market, meaning you have enough runway and liquidity and cash on hand to pay people to build that thing, to build your community, to reward users, to give these things back. And if liquidity did not play a role in raising funds through a token, which is non-dilutive for the most part, with the exception of if you signed a side note when you've taken VC capital, or raising equity through something like an NFT raise, which is non-dilutive. People do not own part of your company, they own that NFT. If you've done those things, that is in part a liquidity event. And that's fine because it serves some goal. It helped to drive the product further. It helped to build community. It helped to give people something to rally towards. But ultimately, it is a liquidity event. If it was not, the NFT would be free, 100% of the token supply would be airdropped. But that doesn't mean that you're not one of the best founders in the space. Good founders understand that sometimes you need to take capital in. You cannot give everything away. You need to assign value to things. And the way that you do this is by associating a price or creating a system in which, yeah, you can take in some capital so you can build a system which, to the point of Bill, you can reward people who have been participants within that ecosystem. A token raise, an NFT raise, they are liquidity events. It is a payday. Depending on the way that you structure it, there are a lot of teams who will take in very little capital and spend almost all of the money that they take in as part of that token sale to actually make sure that that token sale is compliant. But those teams are very few and far in between. If you've launched an NFT, if you've launched a token, it is a liquidity event. There is no two ways about it, but that doesn't mean you're extractive. It doesn't mean you're a bad player in the space. It doesn't make you less of a founder. It makes you realistic. We have this obsession in Web3 where all of the best founders have to operate in this way. They can't take any money from the ecosystem. They shouldn't make any money. They shouldn't do this. They shouldn't do that. We've got a graveyard of those founders who were unable to raise the second round, were unable to get a product to market because they ran out of capital. Part of being a quality person in this space is understanding that you need money in order to build your thing. You need money in order to pay the people who work under you, whose livelihoods depend on the business that you've
I want to
created.
go back. Oh, sorry. Did we rug? Are we in one piece?
No,
We
that was
hear
it. That
you.
was the end.
We hear you, Sam.
Okay. Thank God. All right, let's go back to Bill. Bill raised the hand during that. Curious if he has a rebuttal for us here.
Yeah, not so much a rebuttal. I mean, I think like when we say early backers and community, we should include people who have funded the teams and the team members in that definition, right? Like, as much as I wish, like, as much as I really love what I do and believe in Game 7, I also have to pay bills and I don't have a trust fund to let me do stuff for free. So, I think like that's absolutely right. Like you want to pay back, your funders, you want your team to be able to do well. Most importantly, I forgot who brought it up, like you need to use some of that liquidity for like future runway, and so you can continue to deliver on your product. I think like the key is seeing it as the beginning of like the next step of the journey rather than some sort of like opportunity to rug, go buy the Lambo, move to the beach type deal. I forgot who was saying it. It's a little bit like an IPO in that way, though it's not a security for sure. um, it's really just like the next phase or the growing up phase of a Web3 project. It's not the end for sure, and that's I think the big distinction. Like if I'll stick by, like if you don't believe that it's a debt to be repaid to your community, which includes like funders and core contributors, you should get out of the space. But just because your investors are benefiting the same way like your early users and early adopters and community members and team members are benefiting doesn't make it bad. Like that does make you like savvy, that's building up a healthy ecosystem that will thrive and ultimately do right by all of those like key constituencies that make your product successful.
Great stuff, Bill. Crystal in the comments says founders should take 100% of the money and profits, but that's just my privileged and naive suburban white housewife perspective. I don't know about all that, but definitely, founders deserve to get paid. You're taking a lot of risk there. Let's go over to Tony from SoulForge Fusion, then we'll tag in Koji.
Yeah, I am of the opinion, as I sit up here with on a product account that has a token out, that people should be holding off on any sort of token event until they have the Jerry Maguire part of their business solved, which is show me the money. I really think that a lot of the expectations that get set with these launches and these collectibles and the tokens can be solved or alleviated greatly with a business that has a revenue positive flywheel. And so I'm really excited to see as the folks that are talking about feeling responsible to their communities up here launch their speculative assets, how the success of their business continues to fuel the success of their holders. It's really exciting, but I think that is going to have to be like the standard moving forward. And I think someone up here on this stage is probably going to be one of the people to solve it first. And we'll go all model after that.
Man, my internet is in absolute shambles. Am I with you again?
Yes, sir.
Okay, God bless. All right, Koji, over to you, buddy. Then to Sinjin.
Yeah, I mean, to bring it back to the tweet, and maybe I'm being a little bit too literal here, but it says the best founders don't see TG as a payday, and I think like from experience, that's I mean I would agree. It's like, okay, so the people who invested in the company, and the community members and whatever can view TGE as a payday, but when the tokens generated, like I mean from a practical standpoint, even right, like if you release a token and then start selling it immediately, you will get absolutely fucking eviscerated. Eviscerated in the space. And it doesn't matter. The crazy thing is, it doesn't matter. Like, you can release all the white papers. You can say, this is how things are structured. This is what it's going to do. Your tokens are your tokens. Everyone's like, oh, like crypto is all about ownership. And but that they're full of shit. It's all about ownership unless they own it. And then it's like, well, let me sell first. You know? So I think that, like, I agree with Knock that like you can leverage the idea of TGE to get money and use it as a payday. But when that token's actually generated and it's out on the market, like the people who sell day one or sell prior to being listed on certain exchanges or whatever, we talk about it here all the time, and people are like, "Fuck those guys," and then someone will pipe in with like a half comment being like, "Well, it was theirs and they deserved it and whatever," but like, fuck them anyway, right? And that's the way crypto looks at things. Crypto as a space look at things. So I think that like the idea that anyone would say that founders should look at TGE as a payday, even if it's true, even if it's in the white paper, even if it's whatever. I promise you, this space will absolutely fucking kill you. So don't do it.
Amazing takes from Big Coach. I see not going ham with the 100s. Let's go over to Sinjin.
Yeah, like the way that this is phrased, I think is it's okay, but it's problematic for me because it really doesn't go far enough. Like when you phrase like this as a debt on your reputation, like who the fuck really does that in the real fucking world? I mean, we do this because we're in this speculative mindset, but it doesn't really reflect what the TGE really is. I mean, it's a fucking serious fucking thing. And if the TGE is a liquidity event like an IPO, like there's a real fiscal responsibility here. It's not like I'm fucking taking a shot here on my reputation. Well, it didn't fucking work out or whatever like that. You need a definitive plan to grow. And so like the points by Bill and you know, I think really were like spot on in the sense that, um and as well, sorry, it's like 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. in the morning, 6 a.m. here. But like for gaming, like it really does need to be backed by revenue. And it's gotta be more than repaying the fucking debt. This has gotta be a 10x win. Like when you do something like this as a liquidity event, forget about who gets paid or whatever like that. These are all incentives, right? But you got to do something with this. And actually, this is when the real risk really starts. We're not supposed to be here just to make people happy and reward them for being early and made the community. That should be a given. We have to push more than that. We got to be more professional with this because we got to aim to kill it each time with something more. And that's what's really going to reward your early contributors. That's what's going to move the industry. Like, it's just not a serious enough take. And for me, like, it's just, we're never going to fucking make it if this is like the limits and we think that we're patting ourselves on the back, that it's a fucking debt on reputation. It's so much fucking more than that.
Yeah, thanks for the dose of realism here. I think it's important to balance it out. I think people should think of it or feel as if it is a debt that they're taking out on their reputation, because at the end of the day, it is. But some founders, if they're not dedicated to Web3, if they don't plan on being here for the next 10 or 20 years, a lot of them just don't care, right? But all the people on this panel have clearly shown that they care deeply about not just the fiscal impacts, but also the reputation. Knock over to you, bud.
Yeah, I'll kind of prove that it's not a debt on your reputation. Little exercise here. Everybody think of 5 founders that you're aware of outside of the gaming space in crypto. 3 of them have rugged something at some point, and this is true. 2 of 3 or 4 of the biggest NFT collections in the entire space are literally run by people who launched a thing, abandoned that thing, made a bunch of fucking money from that thing, and are now being touted as the best founders in the space. So there is no backed by the debt on your reputation, because as long as you make somebody money somewhere else, it doesn't matter. So to Sinjin's point, I think it's incredibly important that you take this a little more seriously than like a debt to just your reputation. Yes, that is a part. Yes, good founders in general tend to care about whether or not their community, their investors, their employees are in a good and healthy spot. But that is like fucking table stakes, right? Like this idea that if you come in, you drop something, you disappear, you make a bunch of money from it, people will like remember and not like you anymore, is just like objectively false, because literally 3 of the biggest collections in the entire ecosystem are run by people who did the thing that was supposed to kill them, apparently.
I just want to piggyback on that and just say, people lauded Martin Shkreli in this space as a fucking hero, and I tweeted the other day that if Bernie Madoff launched a token, everyone would be buying, and I completely agree. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, dude. And Enron hit like an $800 million market cap or something ridiculous the other day. It's literally just a snake eating its own tail. It's time for the MVP of the day, though. Forget about all that craziness and instead shout out your favorite panelist of the day. Sinjin, I want to hear from you first, buddy. Who's your MVP? Can you guys hear Sinjin?
I'll tell you
Nope.
what, it's not fucking Elon, I'll tell
Nope.
you that much.
Damn it. Yes, not Elon. Knock over to you, buddy.
Holy fuck. I'm gonna give it to Bill. I think it's again, it's always nice when new people kind of come up and deal with all the chaos and the fucking hostility that this group can deliver. But it's even better when they're able to come and deliver real insight, push back, expand on some topics.
Bill fucking crushed it.
Hey, things you love to hear. Congrats, Bill, on getting that first MVP vote. I'm sending it over to you. Who's your MVP of the day?
I mean, can I choose all of the above? Because I think this panel was just like fantastic in general, and so many good perspectives. So I'm gonna cheat and just choose all of the
No,
above.
nope, nope, nope.
No, no, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Wild Paul. I think he had some really good takes, and yeah, and appreciated the level of like insight and learned some new stuff about how people are thinking about Web3 streaming. So love learning new things.
Hard to be against a vote for Wild Paul at just about anything. Mr. Paul, who's your MVP, bud?
Damn it, Knock. It's like the fourth time I'm going to give it to you. I almost want to give it to Jerry because I agreed, I think, with more things than I disagreed with him on, which is unusual. But also unusual for us, Knock. So anyway, I'm giving it to Knock. I love you, Knock.
Who doesn't love Knock? All right, Kevin Lambert, what about you, brother?
I'm going to give it to Twitter for the safe and stable platform that they have provided for us. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm sorry.
Elon gets it.
Too soon? Too soon. I'm going to throw it over to Paul because this was one episode where, the product and user experience DNA really shined through in some of his thoughts and takes. And I always love hearing those myself.
Likewise, man. One of the great joys of every single work week that I'm able to interact with the man. Over to Bry DeSanto. Bry, who's your pick, brother? Oh, Bry, I guess had to leave a little bit early. Koji, what about you?
I'm gonna have to give it to Bill as well. I've been giving I was gonna say VIP. Jesus, my brain's not working. But I've been giving it out to a lot of the new guys. But it's because I'm really impressed at how well people are fitting in. You brought some people up here before. I'm not gonna name names, but I was like, get this guy the fuck off the stage, right? But but Bill is not one of those people, and so it's like this is his like 100th episode. So I'm like, yeah, give this guy the award.
That's awesome, man. Big shout out to Bill fitting in like a glove. Jerry, what about you? Who's your MVP?
Yeah, before I do that, I'm gonna say screw you, Paul. I don't agree with shit you say either. Um, I want to say it was actually Bill. I think some of the regulars have all had that moment where like somebody comes on and you're like, damn, this guy sucks. And I didn't agree with everything Bill said, but I think he made his points and he argued his case pretty well on everything he said. So he's deadpan like Koji and I, so I can appreciate that as well.
Arguably, disagreeing with things that they say is a better reason to pick them for MVP than we just agreed on everything. If you've ever listened to this show, let's go over to Dub. Dub, who's your MVP, bud?
Oh shit! I didn't realize I was on the stage. It's fucking Sinjin, dude. Because he shattered the glass house that I live in that I was comfortable with. It's never fucking enough, bro. Like, appreciate you, dog, keeping me hungry.
He shattered that glass house he just got for grandma.
Already, man. I hope you got insurance, big dog. Hope it wasn't in Northern California, big dog. Tony,
Bro, the
what about
insurance
you?
is fucked up here. I don't want to talk about it.
Tony, who's your MVP, brother?
Oh, it's my boy Paul Bettner spitting the knowledge about the streaming. Let's go!
Big Pauly B. Sinjin, what about you? Who's your MVP?
Actually, I had that brain fart because it was so early in the morning for me. But Tony made some really solid points right before I did. I totally agreed with him, and he had a lot of insight. But I'm gonna give it to Bill. Bill, welcome to the panel. You did a great fucking job today, man.
Let's go. And last but not least, Big Lambs. Lems, who you got for MVP?
All right, first I'll say honorable mention to Koji for consistently being grounded and being like, wait a minute, what was the question? What was the actual thing? Because everyone always like goes off on a tangent when we start getting into these discussions. But yeah, gonna give the MVP to Bill. Bill absolutely crushed it today.
Bill MVP, first week on the panel. That means that you're going to get 60 seconds of FaceTime, my man. What do you want to plug? Shill away, my guy.
Of course, gotta shill Game 7. If you haven't checked it out, visit us at app.game7.io. We've got a TGE coming up, but that is just the beginning. Like I said, a bunch of exciting features, new ways to participate. This is just the beginning of our journey. You know, we're at about 500,000 citizens, but the goal is 3 billion. So come to the platform, discover a bunch of great Web3 games. I think, you know, we've done some cool campaigns with a few of the folks on the stage. So yeah, check us out.
Things you love to see. And as we chill out on this captivating conversation, let's give a frosty farewell and a flurry of gratitude to our friends at Avalanche. They're the cool cats of the crypto sphere, the pioneers of the permafrost, and the official blockchain of gamified. Don't be left shivering in the cold. Join Solo Leveling, T1 Esports, Off the Grid, the California DMV, by the way, and so many others in making your very own L1 blockchain to your specifications. Thank you to Avalanche. And of course, calling all cosmic crusaders and spacefaring scoundrels, Star Atlas is about to ignite the gaming galaxy with a pulse-pounding space race where velocity and valor are your keys to victory. Master the maneuvers of magnificent spaceships, mine marvelous minerals, and build an empire that spans the stars. Join the Discord, get a game key, and play the preseason to prepare for a year of stellar surprises in 2025. And of course, Game 7 that Bill was just mentioning is flipping the script on traditional gaming grinds. Forget those greedy gatekeepers hoarding all the loot. Game 7 is putting their gold where their gaming is, ensuring 80% of the revenue goes straight back to the players. With over 150 games already on board, Game 7 isn't just pressing continue, they're shattering records and respawning us into a brighter gaming future. So grab your game pads and get ready to conquer the next era of gaming with Game 7 and get in touch with the official infrastructure of Gamified. Thank you to all my amazing panelists for handling all of the Elon Twitter BS with ease, with grace. You all are beautiful stars in this Web3 gaming grind. Fingers crossed that one day Web3 gaming is back in the spotlight, probably right around the time that the Parallel World Championships are happening in Vegas. Can't wait. We're also having the Wolves Den. The Wolves Den at GDC is back, and it's only a month and a half away. Lumas are going to be popping up for the events pretty shortly here, probably in the next 2 weeks. The schedule's firming up. The sponsorship is firming up. We got 1 or 2 more sponsor slots maybe available. We're trying to suss it out. There's a lot of conversations going on. So if you want to get involved at all, slide in my DMs sooner rather than later. Big thank you. And of course, the Wolves DAO, also doing a ton of stuff. We've been leaking some announcements. Make sure you check out the Wolves DAO for all of the amazing things that are going to be coming down the pipeline over the next week or two. Big shout out to everybody again on the panel. Thank you to all of our amazing panel or listeners as well. And I forgot. I have a node to give away from Grid. Shout out to Grid. Thanks for that node. We're gonna give it to We're gonna give it to somebody. Stick with me. Panelists, you can leave. I'm gonna give it to somebody.
Mm-hmm. Why you pick that, Sam?
This is how I end up winning.
Yeah, it's going to Johnny Vice.
Hell yeah.
Vice. Johnny's been hanging with us in Abstract. He's also dropping comments on Twitter. Also probably gave us a retweet. Johnny Vice, thanks, man. Appreciate you, buddy. Slide in my DMs. I need an email and an EVM wallet, and then we'll be good to go. Jerry, what were you going to say, buddy?
Oh, I was just gonna say, hey, Bill, when you win the MVP, you don't talk about yourself. You just awkwardly glaze the other panelists for like 60 seconds or so.
Next time I know.
Yeah, and then the next person goes, oh, well, since he didn't glaze himself, I'm going to glaze him for him. And then it becomes this whole fucking, this thing. I don't know, man. I like the way you did it. It's just shameless shilling because that's what it's all about. Congratulations,
That's
buddy, on your
Web3.
first week.
Thank you.
First MVP. Dude, big Bill. Have a drink on us tonight. Love you guys. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Big hugs.